Hi there everybody, it's UK independent demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.com. Sorry it's a bit of a wobbly start. It was saying no internet connection, so I'm just going to wait for a few people to join. Apologies if you were on the other stream. I don't really know why it didn't do it. I'm just going to straighten my grid paper because it wasn't a good place and I had to take it down and redo it. So, the card I'm making today is this gorgeous shaker card. Hi, okay, I'm so sorry. I was on the other stream and it all went greyed out and said that there was no connection and kicked me back off, which happens every week. So I must be doing something wrong when I schedule them, I think. But yeah, I'm making a shaker card today. So you can use any floral stamp set. And I've just popped some little butterflies in. So I've used the Magnolia Bloom stamp set and I've used Beauty Abounds. So I'll show you how to make it, but you can decorate this with any stamp set that you've got. Hey Sophia, happy Easter. Oh yeah, happy Easter everybody. I opened the door this morning and the Easter bunny hadn't sort of agreed to social distancing and left me an Easter egg outside. I was quite excited. So I've already cheated and I've jumped ahead, but only because my big shot doesn't fit on my table. So I have this cardstock, which is 8.5 centimetres by 12.8 centimetres. And I had 2 of them. And I cut this out using one of the stitched squares. Now it's up to you. You can either use one of the stitched squares or you can use your trimmer. And it is about 1 centimetre each side just to cut that window out in a square. This stitch square was 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, but I just can't fit the big shot on the table to do my live. Hi Karen. So you just need to cut a window out. Also, while you're doing that, I'll tell you what else I've got on my table. I've got a backing sheet of Bermuda Bay, and it literally is just a bit around the base. So whereas this was 8.5 centimetres, this is 9, and whereas this is 12.8 centimetres, this was 13.2. Just so it's a really nice frame around it. I've also got some of our Purloins doilies, because there's a little doily in the back there. I have the Bermuda Bay stitched ribbon, striped ribbon. I've got some blends, and I've got these were the snowflake sequins. These were in the Christmas catalogue. I'm not sure if they're still current, but they were white and silver, so I quite liked adding those in along with the iridescent sequin assortment, and lots of dazzling diamonds. I had I had a bit of a disaster with the dazzling diamonds earlier. I put far too many in here. So I scooped it out with a spoon and put the spoon on the side. Didn't tell anyone. Well, the spoon got picked up to go in the wash, and you can imagine all the way there was a little trail of all these dazzling diamonds following. Oops. Right. So hopefully you've cut your square out now. I'm going to do the bits to build this up first. So I'm going to start off with my flower. Any floral stamp set will do. I was speaking about this with Karen earlier. The painted poppies would be a lovely one to use. I also thought about Botanical Bliss, but any sort of floral stamp set. Just onto some scrap Whisper White. So have you all had a good Easter? I know we could all really like to stay in, but I always stay in at Easter anyway because the family normally come round, and so we normally are in at Easter. I'm also doing the bud as well from Magnolia Lane. And then I've got these butterflies here from Beauty Abounds. You can use the other butterflies that's got the punch. I just use these because they're a little bit smaller. Really up to you. I've become a little show critic in the last couple of days. I've been watching all these okay, Martin will love those. I've been watching all the shows that Andrew Lloyd Webber's been producing every Friday night. It was Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat last week, and it was Jesus Christ Superstar on Friday night. It's really good. I go on holiday with Kay, and Kay's partner always goes to the theatres while we're on holiday, so I know that he would definitely love that. Yeah, he's had them on. I knew he would. Right, so for this one, I'm colouring in with Bermuda Bay. Oh, that's my ruler falling off the side of my desk. Call Me Clover. Mango Medley, and I've got my colour lifter as well. So I was not being lazy with this one, but I did a card with this yesterday for my blog, and so I feel like now I'm a dab hand at colouring this one in. I did it with Highland Heather yesterday, but there was 3 of these on the card that I used for my blog, so I feel like I'm getting really good with knowing where to shade, but you just want to blend it in. How are you getting on with your blends, Sophia? I was recommending the blends to Sophia to get. What was Martin's favourite, Kay? I don't know whether I was that keen on Jesus Christ Superstar. I think it was just because it was really different to how I expected it to be. I liked Judas. I thought he was pretty good. He could sing really well. I picked a card so you could test them, Sophia. So I've just gone around the shaded bits. I think I probably would have liked it. I was just all the way through it confused because I was like, this is not how I expected it to be. Perhaps if I watched it back now, I'd enjoy it. I just noticed, by the way, I lied when I said these were the blends you need. You also need brown for the centre part of the flower. Sorry. It's quite amusing actually, because I forgot that colour on the other video I did. Oh, I stick it out to the end. Okay. Well, he probably already knows, but Cirque du Soleil are doing a show every Friday as well. But they've stayed up. They're not only up for the 48 hours, so you can watch those back. Martin might enjoy those. I love those. So clever. So that's mine. I'm just going to grab. I've gone for soft suede in the light. Hi, Janice. Charged my phone up properly this week, Janice. It was on 100% when I started. You'll be glad to know. If you missed last week's, I had a bit of a phone catastrophe where the video went on a little bit longer than I thought. I got that, or you don't have much battery left. Panic. There's all the leaves. And forgot where I'm going now. Onto the bud. Oh, well, you could totally use either of those, Sophia. So if you wanted to use Root for Nature, you could use the tree. Or if you were doing Dress to Impress, you could put a perfume bottle or lipstick on there instead. You could actually put the perfume bottle on as the big flower and put the lipstick behind it, whereas I've put the bud behind it. And then in Dress to Impress, you've got those little flowers, haven't they? So you could put a little flower around it. You could kind of adapt this really for most sets, I think. But sorry, I never thought. I will try and do one with those two next week. But yeah, I thought when I started doing this, I spoke to Karen in the week, and she said that the one set that she hadn't got but wished she had was the Magnolia. And then as I was part way through creating this, I thought, oh, she's going to shoot me because I've used the Magnolia. I did send her a little sorry. I didn't really play very much with the butterflies. I just put the dark on the big feature bits, and then went over the whole lot with the light mango medley. I didn't really fussify with those. By the way, thanks for everyone who sent me their one sheet wonders last week. They were all really good. And what was really nice is we'd all sort of used different stamp sets and different papers. I quite like that. It's all the blending done, Kay. On to fussy cutting. I've got so used to fussy cutting now and enjoy doing it so much that I fussy cutted a whole piece out of the Forever Blossoms the other day and then realised I had the dies for them. Not my brightest moment. I'm not very talkative when I fussy cut, sorry. I like to concentrate, otherwise I make mistakes and I chop off the key bits. It's probably not as big with a flower if you cut off a leaf, but I did it on one of my seahorse videos and I cut off the tail, and that's quite important to the seahorse, I feel. Are you doing your poppies in Bermuda Bay, Karen, or are you going for red with them? What colour are you doing those? I saw someone had done a purple poppy the other day on Pinterest, and it hadn't occurred to me to colour the poppy purple. They look really nice. Ah, going pastel. You and Sophia are like complete opposites. When I asked Sophia what colour she likes, she's like, oh, I like all the pastel colours. I'll advise different to the things I advise to Karen. I was tempted with Gorgeous Scrape because I have some of the Gorgeous Scrape stripe ribbon as well. But Bermuda Bay one, I think it's my favourite colour. And I quite liked it because there's a little bit of, see, this is why I don't talk and fussy cut. There's a little bit of blue in the sequins, so I thought it kind of matched. On the Highland Heather one that I got with the Magnolia Lane that's coming out whenever I schedule it on my YouTube, I did it this week. There was 3 on each card, so I did them all beforehand so people didn't have to sit watching me colour and cut. I thought you would get really fed up if you were crafting along and I'd already done it all and just assembled it. And the last one. I like these little butterflies. Like I do like the big butterfly gala with a punch, because it's got lots of detail and it's quite a fun one to do. But they steal the show of the card, so when you just want to hide little ones, I think this Beauty Abound set's really quite nice. There we go. Once you've got those, you just bring in your frame in and playing with them until you get where you want. I popped a doily in the back, so these were the pearlised doilies. Karen has crafted her own, I think. I'm not sure what set she used, but she had a die for it, so... I put this one so it was just in the corner and the circle came over, but it's however much you want to show of it. It sits above the window piece, so it doesn't interfere at all with the bits and the glitter. Before I added all of these on, I popped the ribbon on and I did a bit of stamping down here, so I actually added the little spray bits at the bottom, and I did those in Smoky Slate and in Bermuda Bay, but I off stamped them, so I'll show you what I did. I worked out where I wanted my flower to go. Stamped off and then stamped under where the flower was, like that. Did that twice. And then used my Bermuda Bay. I stamped it off again first, but then just stamped it in the middle, so it just gave a spray of colour underneath the flower. And then played with the ribbon. So for the ribbon I worked out where my flower would hide the ribbon and then used the snail and did an adhesive line across it. So I had somewhere to stick the ribbon. And with the ribbon, cut the doily first. Don't forget to do that bit. So with the ribbon, I just popped it in and popped it round, and I did it so that you could get a little bit of ribbon behind the window. Stuck it back in the snail. And then just cut it down. So that was how my ribbon was. While I've got the ribbon out, I'm just going to do a tiny little bow which I attach to the front later. Stick. There you go. That does not want to stick. It's playing up because it knows it's on camera. There we go. So once I've done that, I'm just building up the front then with how I want everything positioned. I'm not putting loads of dimensionals on because this is at the front and I've got everything peeking behind it. I've left it quite open, so I just pop in a couple of dimensionals in the middle, which will allow for space for me to push the other bits in from the side. And it doesn't matter if it goes over the edge because this is quite a lot smaller than the base of your card. So you've got room for it to overhang. And this one here, I sat flat on the top, so I didn't play with that one until after I'd put the window piece and everything on. That was my last bit to do. So with that bit, just pop that underneath and popped it out. And then just stuck that in completely the wrong place. I looked where I put it and then still stuck it in the wrong place. So on the ribbon, I put a dimensional, so it will pick up half the flower and also half of the butterfly that's on top of the flower, like that. And this one here I've just popped some snail on so it's the same height as this one and sits underneath the flower popping out. And it's up to you how you position them. It did take me a bit of time earlier to play with them all as to how I wanted them positioned, so I already know how I want those, but if you're playing with a different set, have a look and see how you want them positioned. And Sophia, if you had your perfume bottle, you could have your different bits behind it. And I think there is a flower on the Dress to Impress, isn't there? So you should be able to get one for the back. My final bit of stamping is the hello off the Beauty Abound stamp set. So I just used a thin hello so that I could use my window punch. Right somewhere. And I did it in Memento. And I was in two minds when doing this. I was really tempted to do the hello in the window so that it sat under the glitter and the shakiness, but I decided not to. Thought it stood out quite nice on the side in the end, but I was very tempted. You might see another one creep up on my Instagram or blog that's got the sentiment in the background window. got my window sheet, and I've cut this down to 9 centimetres by 9 centimetres, so it's actually bigger than the card. But I'd rather have it bigger than the card and cut it down than have it too small, because then you're going to have a little bit of a problem. So if you turn the card over, you want glue along all of this bit. So the best bit to do that with is your Tombow, so that you get it in. You could also use your sticky strip if you wanted, but Tombow is just as good. However, don't do what I've done. Don't give yourself big blobs. I think that must have been sitting upside down for a long time. Just gonna give yourself big blobs. It's going to shoot out of the window sheet, and with that being see-through, that's not really what you want to do. Move some of that off. There we go. That's a bit better. And I've put the window sheet somewhere, but it's see-through, so it's showing. There it is. So you just want to stick that on. Like I said, it's going to overhang from the card, but I'd rather it be too big than too small. So while that's drying, I'm just going to cut it down. You could have put the window sheet on first, but because I've put the doily and the ribbon from behind, I actually popped the window sheet on last so that the glitter and the sequins are on a smooth background rather than having these on, otherwise it will stop them from shaking as well. How you all doing? Am I going too fast, or? I know when I've got it in my head, I just like zoom along. So with the next piece, I've got the foam adhesive strips, but I know not everyone's got those, so you can use your dimensionals. The lovely bit that's at the side up here, you know, the thin bit. Let me show you. You can use that bit. At the side of the dimensionals, you get this really lovely strip, but it's linked all together. So you can pop that on your card, and you want to pop it straight along the line of the inner window, because you want to make sure this is completely sealed so that your sequins don't come out. But yeah, you can use this bit, that will do it, or you can use the foam adhesive strips that we've got. That will also work quite nicely because they are a complete strip. I'll use one of those on the other side so you can see the difference. But it's up to you, whatever you've got really. And I'm carrying them all the way to the edge on the one side so that it does stick up. I don't want to make the bit by the window stick up and then the rest of it fall flat. Took me ages after becoming a demonstrator to realise that they did these strips. I love them. If you do get a seal and it has got a slight gap in like that, you can just, I'm not going to use all of that, that's a waste. You can just block it like that, so it's not going to come out. I'm just going to carry on popping dimensionals and popping the bottom bit up so it's all the same height. And I'm putting quite a bit on because I just want the whole thing to be popped out. This is the messy bit. This is where I got into trouble earlier. So you want your piece of whisper white that's the exact same size, because that's just going to go on top like that to create the frame. And that is where you're going to pop all your sequins and your glitter. So I'm going to take off the backing first. I prefer doing that so the amount of time with the glitter sitting loose is minimal, because as I told you, I get into a mess. I mean, the whole washing up bowl downstairs from where that spoon was washing out is well, that's a delightful glitter. I believe there's almost half a tub gone. It was like, that's why I don't use glitter that often. I like it. I'm not using it just because I don't like it. It's just because I get messy. So I'm going to pop the snowflake bits in first. I put a fair amount in because you do want it to shake quite nicely. And the iridescent sequins. If you didn't get the snowflakes, because I don't think they're current anymore, if you didn't get those, you can use any of the sequins or any different glitters. If you've got different coloured glitters, that would be quite nice too. And then here's me playing with the glitter, so I'm just going to tap the glitter onto the lid before I put it in, so I can work out if I've got the amount I want. You don't want too much. I mean, it goes a really long way. I did a shaker card on my YouTube. It was one of the first shaker cards I'd made, and I was so happy with it. I did it and then finished it and realised I hadn't put any of the shaky bits in. I sealed it. So silly. So once you've got that, I think that's about enough. You just pop the lid on. Just notice the sequin on there. Pop that in. And really make sure that's stuck, otherwise you're going to have a really nice messy desk. Now, because you're sticking the back onto the front, it's not always clear to see if you've got it lined up, so just run across it with your snips. Whatever you do, don't ever try sticking the front onto the back. That's just messy. Speak from experience. I have tried all of this, you see. And then I'm just going to pop my butterfly at the top, so I've got some glue dots. I've got my piercing tool somewhere. There we go. And again, I don't mind if his wing comes off, because he's going to be put onto the Bermuda Bay backing, which I've got on this side under everything. So while I've got my glue dots out, I'm going to put my bow on. And I put my bow there. Up to you where you put yours, depending on what stamp set you've used and how you've layered it. There we go. Now for this card, because it's shaky, rather than me turn it over and use the snail on here, because I don't want to crush it, I'm actually going to put it on the back. Just don't run it all the way across, because this has the edges showing. You do want to make sure you've got enough to hold it, because this is heavier than your normal card front. and just pop that on. There we go. Just going to tidy that up. The top was a bit higher than the bottom, so there we go. And then finally, I'm going to pop it onto a card base. Thought I'd forgot my card base then. I'm very sorry, by the way, of how late I was in giving you the list of what you'd need for the live today. I know normally I've given it the day before and such. We jet sprayed the patio yesterday. And perhaps being a bit naive, I wasn't quite sure how tired it would leave me afterwards. And it turned out it left me very tired. And I came to bed. So, sorry that I didn't do it yesterday. And there we go. Shake a card. Please do let me see what you've done. How's everybody done? Have you all kept along? Hoping I wasn't too rushing ahead. But once you've finished, do let me see what you've created. And I'll see you back next week. Have a good week, everybody. Bye.